you, Schalk, for joining us at Game On Magazine this evening. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And there?
I can't complain. It's good to see you again. It's been a while since you were in Pretoria.
Yeah, 6 months is a while.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen you in a while, so 6 months is a long time for me. All right.
Yeah, especially friends.
Yes. All right, Schalk. Listen. Okay, we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off with some easy ones. You grew up in a household that is filled with two Springboks, with your dad and your brother both playing for the Springboks, and your brother winning a World Cup in 2007. Was it a case of just being a part of the family, you just took up rugby, or how did you get involved in the game?
No, it was just since the day or since the day I turned 4, I just the only thing that I wanted to do is touch a rugby ball, and I didn't even know the big names that was in my family, and even when I turned 13 and stuff, I started realizing, okay, my brother and my was is a kind of a big shot, but I never really relied on it, and it's I see it as I'm really blessed to have great role models like that in my family.
Yeah, Schalk, you did most of your schooling at Hoërskool Waterkloof, and then you shifted off to Affes in your matric year. Why did you do that? Why did you change schools in your matric year? And was it difficult to adjust?
It's everyone. There's a lot of there's a lot of opinions about that, but it was simply just because of my rugby. At that time, the legend Paul Anthony was the coach at the Bulls under 19s, and he just when I was stand 9 in the Crane week, he saw me and he just said, "Listen here, Schalk, what I'm seeing, I'm liking it, and I want you to be part of my Carry Cup plans." And that year I was standard 9, so obviously the next year. The whole season I was part of in my matric year I was part of the under 19 squad at the Bulls, and it was just an easy move to between training sessions to move to run just over the street.
No, for sure.
Back to school.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Affes is a powerhouse in Pretoria when it comes to rugby.
Yeah.
After school, you played a bit for the junior Bulls, and you played Varsity Cup as well. Tuks just got knocked out of this year's edition in the semi-final. Tuks lost to Marties. And what are your thoughts on the Varsity Cup, especially considering that you are a former champion with UP Tuks?
I think it's a brilliant competition. It gives you great exposure, and I don't think there's a competition, not even Vodacom Cup, would give you that exposure. As a youngster, it's the only thing you need is that exposure to get your name out, and it just opens a lot of windows for you. And I think it's a great gees, it's a great environment, and it's every student's dream or rugby player's dream to play in front of every weekend in front of 10,000, 20,000 people.
Schalk, a big thing is the fact that the Varsity Cup is very adamant about studying. While you were at Tuks, did you study?
Yeah, that year we were doing a course on sports science. But I just couldn't finish it because with the training and stuff, because straight after the Varsity Cup, I became part of the Vodacom Cup, and it was actually my decision to stop. So it wasn't like the Bulls always motivated us to study and stuff. And remember the year I played, it wasn't. You had a choice. You only had to add like 60% of the players had to study.
Yeah, that's changed now. In fact, all the players have to now be bona fide students, which is a good thing. And Tuks is also blessed with having a couple of postgraduate students. But moving on, you played for the Bulls for a number of years. You played under 19s, you played under 21s. Played a bit of Vodacom Cup. And then you moved to France. And I know that it's a touchy subject considering our private conversations we've had as mates. But what was the reason for you shifting, especially so far away from home?
Yeah, it's a tough decision. Every rugby player grew up with the dreams of playing for South Africa, the Springboks, and it was a really tough decision. But at that time, I moved from the Bulls to the Lions, and I just didn't get my opportunities, and some opportunities was taken from me. Uh, like I told you, you know, uh, the quota system, and it was just the people was talking about changing the quota system to 50%, and yeah, it was for me. I was just tired of all the, because I believe it doesn't benefit uh, a black player or white player, because the black players there's more than enough good black players in South Africa, and yeah, I just that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a lot of chance at the Lions, and yeah, I just needed to get my CV out and move to France.
How did the contract at Strasbourg come about?
A good, or I actually I put my video on YouTube, and some agent is this agent of mine's name is Arnaud, and he's from Paris, and he called me up, and he just told me, listen here, if I'm still playing rugby, would I come to France? And I'm like, yeah, obviously I would come to France, but yeah. So he said, listen here, I have some clubs you would maybe be interested, and yeah, he gave me a lot of clubs, but I had a real connection with the coaches of my club. It's the forwards coach is a former player and the backs coach, and both of them are used to play prop, and they're just great individuals. And I see a future here, and it was just amazing. And since day one, they've treated me really good.
You, for the rugby connoisseurs that are busy watching this video, I think everybody is having a slight smile considering that the backline coach is a former prop, and you always know the big boys like to run that ball. So it's great to hear that a backline coach is a prop. Um, what are the differences between French rugby and South African rugby, and what suits your style of play more?
Oh, there's a big difference. Uh, Here in France, it's just different. It's the people, because we play on Sundays. The people, they come with their whole family. It's like a Sunday treat for a family just to come watch the guys rugby. And some of the people don't even know about rugby. They just come for the outing because it's an amazing environment, and it's a really friendly environment. But rugby-wise, it's just much more physical. Really, it's a bit slower than the South African game. The South African rugby is really fast, but it's not as physical. So for me, I prefer this rugby because I've always been your heavier kind of loose forward. That's why I played lock in South Africa, because I just couldn't keep on with the pace of the game. And for me, this game suits me perfect. Um, I play 8 and 6 the whole time, and I'm loving it, every moment of it.
French rugby is characterized with having a lot of money, and you are playing for a team that's not in the top 14, if I'm correct. Are
Yeah.
you still able to lead a comfortable life playing for a team that's not in the top division?
Yeah, the thing is, not for me. It wasn't about, and everyone's going to smile when they hear this. But in the beginning, it wasn't for me about. Oh, now even now, it's not for me about the money. it was just, to get a foot in the French system, to get a foot in the door. And, it's easy to go to a top 14 club and, just sit on the bench. But I was looking for a place which I can gain my confidence back. I really need that confidence back, game time. And, so for me, the lifestyle is amazing. And they're really looking good after me. The coaches, they will pop in once a month and just ask, are you okay? If you need anything, tell me. And it's enough money to put away for me to focus on when I'm finished with rugby. So this suits me perfect.
What do the French rugby teams do for overseas players who come to France? Do they help you out with accommodation and setting up your working papers? Are they very hands-on?
Yeah. No, they, from day one, since I told them, okay, I want to come over, and I signed my contract, they were so hands-on. They even organized with the Lions Rugby Union so they can sign me off. I didn't have to do anything. And since day one, when I landed in France, they picked me up on the train. They brought me to Strasbourg. It's amazing. And they give you accommodation as well. And it depends on which contract you are, because obviously there's some smaller contracts as well. But for the foreigners, they really look good after us.
I think that characterizes foreign rugby is that when South Africans are playing in the same team, they're band together. Do you have South African teammates? And if so, do you guys, have a lekker braai every now and again? Do you keep the South African culture going?
Yeah, we're not really allowed to speak. We try not to speak English because, they just don't appreciate English. But, the only languages we speak here is Afrikaans in France. And, I have one South African friend here, but even though the Fijians and the New Zealanders, all the Southern Hemisphere countries, we are so close. We are actually exactly the same, And so all of us, we do normally once a month a barbecue. It's very important. Like they call it barbecue. I got so used to the words and stuff.
I'm pretty sure a couple of South Africans are cringing at the word barbecue. Schalk, have you had to take French lessons? I'm assuming that your practices are done in French. And how did you adapt to that in the beginning? Because, French is not anywhere close to Afrikaans or English. So how did you adapt?
It's kind of close to English. 40% of the words in France is it's similar to English words. But the thing is it was really hard because no one speaks English, and they don't like to speak English. And I understand them, and I understand their culture, and the first few months was really difficult, and I think a big deal of this, why the first few months was difficult, was because I lost my brother back in South Africa, and I had to stay here. And it's really difficult to speak French, especially because all the people, they have different accents. So that stuff, it's really difficult, but I'm getting the hang of it, and after probably another year, I can speak fluently French. So it's just like, if you really want to make it work, you will make it work.
No, for sure. You got to make do with what the opportunities are being presented to you. Schalk, just on a side note, we at Game On would like to offer our condolences for the loss of your brother, and we hope that you are coping with it. One of the things about learning French is that the French is the language of love, and you have since got married since I last chatted to you.
Yeah.
Does your wife stay with you? And if not, how do you manage to make your marriage work?
That's a difficult one because everyone every rugby player, every family member, they have an opinion about this. But the big thing is, my wife, she also, when we got married, she has dreams like I have. And yeah, we decided from day one that because she has also a big company, we're working with kids and, you know, and yeah, so we just decided, she would stay in South Africa and I'll come over. And as soon as I stay here for longer than 3 years, then she would join me and and obviously we're going to start a family. So for now, seeing her 3 times in 6 months, it's okay. Because, I'm really focused on the rugby, but it's tough. It's tough, but it just goes back again to do you really want how much you want these opportunities, and I want this to work because yeah, this is my last opportunity.
Schalk, just to sidetrack off rugby, you're in Europe now, and Europe has unfortunately been the target of many terrorist attacks, especially the Paris terrorist attack that happened a couple of months ago. As South Africans, we're not used to terrorism because our country is beautiful and we are the Rainbow Nation and we have our own issues, but terrorism is not one of them. Was it a scary thing when it happened in France? And did the guys come together and talk us through how it is to be living in a country that has been affected by terrorism?
Dan, these people, and that's one thing I can tell you about these people, the French culture. It's amazing. They are really so passionate about each other. And, it was all over the news when I came here. And I didn't really knew it was such a big thing when I came over. But when I got here, yeah, some of the Oaks lost their some family members in the club because of the terrorist attack. So, yeah, it was kind of personal for some of the Oaks. And yeah, you could have felt it from miles. So it's really amazing how the French people deal with this, so that it doesn't affect them. They try to stand, or they're standing strong and sending a message to the world and saying, we won't be affected by terrorism and we won't be scared and we won't shut up. And this is amazing for me because that's the whole goal of the terrorism is by making people afraid to go out and stuff. And yeah, the French and the German and all these people, they're just fighting this, and yeah, there's no better way of doing it.
Yeah. Tell me, Schalk, we're almost done, and I appreciate your time. I wanted to ask you, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you are offered a contract back in South Africa and you guaranteed a starting spot. Would you make the return, or are you happy in France? Are you happy playing in France?
Dan, you got me there, bro. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I can never say, yeah, I'll never go back to South Africa. South Africa, obviously, as a soft spot. I have a soft spot for South Africa because it's my home, and I just absolutely love it. It's a great country. I'm building a life here, and whatever my future plans is here, no one knows their future. But if I get an offer, I personally would like to end my career at the Bulls, where I started, because it's an amazing place and it's one big great family, and it's just an amazing coaching staff as well. But as I'm now, I'm not looking back and I'm not looking to go back because I'm focusing on being the best in France,
Yeah.
and making the most of all of my opportunities this side, because you can't have one foot in South Africa and one foot in Europe.
Yeah.
So my mind is just focusing on France.
Yeah, but it's all about committing to the goal that you have in front of you. Schalk,
Yeah.
a big thing is, do you still watch South African rugby, the Springboks, and do you follow the Bulls still in Super Rugby?
Yeah, Dan, you have no idea, bro. I'm in love with the Super Rugby. So I really miss this. Luckily I have Sky Sports, so I can still watch the Super Rugby matches, and we and some of the Fijians and the New Zealanders are betting on some of the games. We have our own betting thing going on here. So for us, it's a big thing. You know, the French people, they're not really into the Super Rugby as much as us, but it's a great competition,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. And yeah, I love just spending my Saturdays watching Super Rugby.
Yeah, tell me, Schalk, what are your thoughts on the Bulls campaign so far? And especially considering that they are now, the head coach is now Knowledge Murray, who would have been your under-21 in Vodacom Cup, and your Tuks coach when you won the Varsity Cup. What are your thoughts on his appointment and the Bulls campaign so far?
Okay, firstly, in Knowledge Murray, yeah, I worked with him my whole life, and he's a special coach. He's one of the coaches who I have a really special feelings towards him, because he's just
The Bulls campaign so far.
Okay, firstly, in Knowledge Murray, yeah, I worked with him my whole life, and he's a special coach. He's one of the coaches who I have a really special feelings towards him, because he's just a magnificent coach. The way he does stuff, the way he feels for players, the way he looks after players, it's amazing. And I was lucky enough to be coached by him, and yeah, for me, he's one of the best. And yeah, the Bulls team, they are a bunch of young guys, and they're motivated. And I personally think you can't ask for much more. Young, motivated guys is the best guys. You know, they will always fight in the game. And yeah, you need your experience, and they have the experience. But the Bulls campaign is such a big company and stuff. Yeah, I just can't see them failing, or they're really one of the best in the world.
Schalk, you played with some of these guys that are now playing Super Rugby. Who's been a standout player for you? Or players for you?
Yeah, obviously Jesse Krill is one of my big mates, but not only a mate, but a superb player. You guys saw it in the World Cup, and on and off the field, he's a humble person, and I love this. And another player I really love is one of the Lions players, is Warwick Tecklenburg, old teammate from here of the Bulls, and Jaco Kriel. They are, you know, for me, they are the best loose forwards in South Africa, and that's my humble opinion. But yeah, and then the other player I really love is Marcel Coetzee of the Sharks.
Yeah.
I think he's just a hard-working player that doesn't always get all the credit, but he puts in the hard yards.
Yeah.
And I just have so much respect for that man.
Yeah. In closing, Schalk, after you've spent 3 years there, you would have gained residency so that you could represent France. If the opportunity came about, would you play for France? Would you follow in the footsteps of Rory Cockett and Scott Spalding and turn out for France?
Yeah, that's for me, it's a no-brainer. At this moment, I'm playing in France rugby. I'm not going back to South Africa. So yeah, I'm waiting for my 3 years to come, and if that opportunity opens for me, I would take it with both of my hands, because every rugby player would appreciates international rugby. I think it's an amazing opportunity for me, and I would just be stupid not taking it. So yeah, I would take it, and with both of my hands, and yeah.
Schalk, thank you so much for joining us at Game On Magazine. We really appreciate your time. All the best for the rest of your season and the rest of your career in France.
Thanks. Thank you so much for all your support and the support you give in South African rugby.